I am Eon, and I'm a little under the weather, so apologies if my voice is a little more gravelly than normal. It is Sunday, March the 30th, 2025. Let's look at what's changed in sci-fi since last we looked. Admiral Apocalypse has put out these bases for Sewer Volume 2. Aether Studios has been pretty prolific with a lot of trench stuff. In addition, you see Outpost Mobulus 1. Reminds me of a game, a computer game that you colonize Mars in. I forget the name of it, but a long time ago. Here we see Lieutenant Red Zach Redson. And some more war beaches. Pretty cool terrain if it's what you're looking to play on. War palisades and some more trenches. Of course, what would be some trenches without some tank traps. And if you are more sci-fi, then here's some planetoids. Some concrete barricades as well. Arcane Whiskers has added a little bit to what we saw before, so let's look at that. This corporate crackdown, Prometheus or something, I'm not exactly sure what it's called. And Graveyard of Giants as well. And some skeletons and such. Laser turret, gun turret. Atlan Forge has put out the Waitoa Delugers. The Templar Scouts. And the Egyptian Assault Nehabaku. I know I butchered that. Some very neat alternative helms, though. Beyond Space has put out the release number 4 Arashi Armory Pack V2. Custom Miniature Maker has put out these metal hex plates, as well as these crosses that I thought were, timeless, pretty much. And for all the fuel pipes they put out, you need a way to pump them. Here's your pump. Dakka Dakka has put out a few previews that I think we've seen in another way, but here's the Colossus Squad. Infantry Battle Tank LR7. Dungeons and Dreadnoughts have put out their Dreadnoughts. Here we see the OE10 Lockstep and the OE13 Dreadwolf. EightLegs Miniatures have released these guys. Sorry, I didn't write down their names. Very modular, lots of options. Ghamak is doing a last chance tier in April, so if you missed out on any of these models and are interested in picking them up from Ghamak, you can check that out in April. So apologies for the kind of April preview, but it's also looking back. So Kyoushuneko Miniatures, recommended by Ulrich, is continuing with the Finnish artillery. Here we see the 40 anti-tank gun. the Panzerschreck team, and the Panzerfaust team. Maker's Cult adds to their release throughout the month. We looked at part 1, and by the time I looked again, we were at part 3. So let's catch up on what we've missed out on. I believe the headless ones are just where you can put a head option of whatever you want there. Always an interesting release from Maker's Cult. Marchen Atelier, I think I've got the link fixed below, has put out some Katie and Capybaras. And then here we have an Oath Starch. I think I'm saying that right. And Clawchicks. Mezgike has the Bloated Prince of the Dredge. And Old Zod, the Runt Boss. He has an optional banner. He comes with a couple of superhero runts, Bat Runt and Rob Runt. Mr. Modulork, we're actually going to see everything Mr. Modulork put out this month. I'm surprised. I guess I'm really doing this kind of late. Sorry about that. Release 3 of 5, Wasteland Thugs. Release 4, the Orcs Wagon Bug. And the Wasteland Tank. Yeah, we read that right. Papsikels has put out a few releases, like the Brazen Karabo, the Malignant Amalgam, the Quipo Trench Cleric, Pop Minis that we don't often get to look at either because they tend to release right at the end of the month, is putting out all of these. So these are characters from Spawn and V for Vendetta and Hellboy. I believe I have all of those right. Print Minis has Iron Brawler terrain, like the Iron Sentries here, and some tool tables, a Shotgun Surprise, Toxic Barrel. They also have the Female Purifiers Gang expansion. These are compatible with the Purifier Gang kits. These are modular and can be put together in many ways. And then what's arguably the best piece from Print Minis is the Mama's Crapper. Now, fun fact for anybody that's really interested, the term crapper is actually from the real world. And there's the money shot, y'all. There's the money shot, complete with toilet paper rolls. You don't ever see this most important piece of terrain out there. But real piece of advice, well, real piece of trivia, real world trivia, there was a guy whose last name was Crapper, and he made toilets. And so it became synonymous that when people went to the toilet, they went to the literal crapper. Now, by today's terms, that sounds kind of, I don't know, giggly, vulgar, what have you, but that was what it was called, and that's where we come with that word, because it was named after a series of toilets. That's a real story, and all that. And it comes with a dead ganger option too, so I don't know, kind of like the scene in Jurassic Park, right? So great. That would be a great mission objective. We need to run to the toilet, and we have to get the other team away. Puppetswar Miniatures has put out these bikes this month. These are extremely modular. I mean, just look at all the head options. And there's even more. Red Pilgrim Miniatures has put out some brutes. RedMakers and Adeptus Miniatures has put out part 2. We have the Sunscorch Regiment Imperial Force. Chaos Space Knight Skin Reavers. There's only 5 of these. The Khalith Regiment Ironhide Riders. And then the Steel Guard Artillery Crew. Now, I don't believe these come with the actual artillery, but you can see how they are used to work with the given artillery that you may or may not have. Soldiers of Humankind have put out this release. Aether Studios, which I believe Lord Novus mentioned. This was kind of a surprise release. There's the original scale. Here's the GFA scale. I'll be honest, I don't know what I'm looking at here. I don't do many Warfleet games, but those are pretty cool in my opinion. Stationforge Grimdark Armored Mutants. Here we have the Grimdark Jungle Fighters 2. Must be a very gaseous jungle. And then these are Grimdark objective markers. Now, I didn't put all of these, but there's some different markers here. So hanged men, you know, that kind of makes some sense, I suppose, for a battlefield. But here are a couple of guys burning up and blowing up. Pretty cool minis, but I'm not sure how that's an objective marker. Wargames Atlantic, has put out one more rendition of their audience for death fields. This kind of shows you a little bit better what they look like. Wargames Exclusive has been, wow, they have been prolific. I am blown away. Renegades of Pain Cult Gangers T1. And then we see Mechanic Adept Colossus Military General. He's pretty cool looking. And then the Greater Good Crazy Prophet. And here we have the Maiden Sisters Mother Principia. And there's a pinup version of her as well. Sisters in Heresy Mother Principia Violetta. She also has a pinup version. Orc Grot Flyta Can SKRP5. And when you mix that with everything we saw before, that's all you get from Wargame Exclusive. Really cool release. Well, thank you for putting up with my voice. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to get this put up as quickly as possible. I've got the April preview ready to record. I'm going to start working on that, and I'll see you soon.